My name is Yael, and this is the night that changed everything I believed. I was 19 when they placed me at my first checkpoint. Back then, everything seemed simple. We were told who the enemy was, what danger looked like, and how not to trust anyone. But one night, all those rules fell apart. It was winter. Cold, quiet, almost too quiet. The line of cars was getting smaller, and the checkpoint lights were the only things breaking the darkness. That's when I heard it, a baby crying. At first, I tried to ignore it, but the crying grew louder, sharper, desperate. I looked toward the road and saw an old white car stopped a few meters away. A man stood outside, waving his arms, shouting in Arabic. He looked terrified. "Stay back!" one of our soldiers yelled, pointing his rifle. But the man didn't move. He held something in his arms, a small bundle wrapped in a blanket. Suddenly, the crying became clearer. It wasn't coming from far away at all. It was the baby in his arms. Our commander stormed out of the container and shouted at the man to stop moving. Instead, the man dropped to his knees, tears running down his face. I didn't understand his words, but I understood one. Child, please. I don't know why, but I stepped forward, against protocol, against everything I'd been taught. When I got close, I saw the baby's face. Pale, lips turning blue, breathing too fast. The father tried speaking Hebrew, broken, shaking. "Hospital, please. No air. He can't breathe." I froze. This wasn't a threat. This wasn't an act. This was a father watching his child die. My commander shouted from behind me, "Yell! Step back! We don't know if this is real." I looked at him and yelled, "He's a baby! He's not a weapon!" The world went silent. Just the sound of the baby struggling for air. Then, something inside me broke. I lowered my rifle, handed it to the soldier behind me, and lifted the baby into my arms. He was warm, but too light. His breathing was shallow, a soft, weak sound that barely counted as crying anymore. "Get in the jeep," I told the father. "Now!" My commander rushed toward me, furious. "You're breaking protocol, Yael." I looked him straight in the eyes. "If he dies here, it's on us. We don't have time." He hesitated. Just 1 second. But that second saved a life. "You have 5 minutes," he muttered. "Go." I ran to the jeep. The father climbed in beside me. I drove through the empty road like my life depended on it, because his son's life did, the father prayed in Arabic. I whispered in Hebrew, "Stay with me. Stay with me." When we reached the hospital, I jumped out, shouting for help. Doctors rushed in, taking the baby, placing an oxygen mask on him, surrounding him with wires and lights. The father collapsed against the wall, crying. I stood beside him, still in uniform, my hands shaking. Minutes felt like hours. Then a doctor stepped out. "He's stable now," he said. "Severe asthma attack. If you came a little later, he wouldn't have made it." The father didn't understand the Hebrew words, but he understood the relief. He grabbed my hands and kissed them, thanking me over and over. I felt something in my chest break. Not pride, shame. Shame that I needed a dying child to remember that the people I was told to fear were human. Back at the base, I faced an investigation, warnings, reports, letters in my file. Some soldiers called me reckless. Some called me a traitor. But inside, I knew this. For the first time since I put on that uniform, I had done something truly right. A week later, a nurse sent me a photo. The baby smiling in bed, holding a toy. His father beside him, his hand on his son's shoulder. I hid that photo in my locker, behind the rules, behind the orders, because that night taught me something no training ever did. Courage isn't always about pointing a weapon. Sometimes it's about putting it down. And in a place where everyone tells you who your enemy is, the bravest thing you can do is see a human being instead. That night, I didn't just save a Palestinian child in a way. He saved me too.